my dear students. Welcome you all back to the social class. We are dealing with the economics chapter, globalization and Indian economy. That is fourth chapter in economics. So we saw in the previous class about the production across the country, how it is happening. See how the MNCs are coming and they are establishing their own industries or their own factories over here. So we saw these factories are being brought like an area where they felt the resources are available, the cheap labors are available. They find an area and then come, they establish their own industries, which is also favoring towards their policies. Then when they do this thing, the designing will happen in one place, manufacturing will happen in one place, and the assembling will happen in the other place, and they will take it to the other place for selling. We saw an example also, like an MNC company where they utilize the China as the production place or manufacturing place. They will use Mexico and Eastern Europe for the assembling, and it will be sold in the other places we have seen. And if you take India, India is a nation which has skilled engineers. So these engineers are being facilitating the MNC companies in order to assemble the products, manufacture new designs of engines, new designs of tracks and all other aspects. So the designing work is being done in India, and also you can find that the English of the Indians are comparatively good towards other nations, like other Asian countries like Asia, China, Japan or something like that. You can find Asian countries, India is much better in its English. So they take around 50 to 60% of the people's work of doing the customer services in India. So this is how they utilize. And when this MNC company is utilizing the other resources of the other country, so and they are profited, which has been an immense aspect for them. So what they do is they start the companies in the other areas only. So this is what is about MNC company which we saw. Now we are going to see about the interlinking products across the country. So interlinking, we saw already interlinking is happening. In detail we will see how the interlinking is happening. If you see these MNC companies when they come. So next we will see about the interlinking products across the countries. As we saw, this MNC companies, they will come to the other nation for establishing their own factories. When they are coming, they find a place which is favorable for them to have unskilled and unskilled workers. Skilled workers means they can employ them for the work whichever they want. Unskilled workers means they will be providing training for them and they will be engaged in the work. So this is also happening. The other thing if you see is they will look into the policies which is favoring them. Interesting aspects like where the government gives some kind of opportunities for the MNC companies to establish their own company in their nation. So they look into the interesting policies which are available for the MNC company. So these two things they will see when they are entering into the other nations. So when a person, when an individual invests on an industry or any puts amount of money and starts a business, it is called as the investment, whereas it has been brought by the other country person, it is called as the foreign investment. If you look into your book, my dear students, you can find the difference, that is the MNC companies. No, the money that spent to buy assets such as land, building, machines and other equipments is called as investment. Okay, and the investment made by the MNC is called as the foreign investment. So there will be a question which will be asked for 1 mark, difference between the investment and foreign investment. So when you buy an industry, buy a building, buy a machine or something like that, it will be called as the investment. But when it is being done by the MNC company, it will be considered as the foreign investment. Okay, so this is about the investment that has been done. So at time you can find MNC companies set up their production jointly with some local companies. So when they are coming here, no, they will set up their own connections or their own production with the local companies in order to get benefited. So they feel that their local companies feel that when they are getting collaborated with them, they will be having an upliftment, their kind of recognition will be there. But you know what happens really? So MNC companies set up the production jointly with some of the local companies for these countries. So the benefit of the local company of such joint production is twofold. So it is in twofold, two aspects it is there. So as I told you first is that the MNC companies provide money to them, money for buying their own products, money for getting new raw materials, technologies, tools, like that it will be giving them the money. The second thing is that when the companies are being established in India, the benefit is that they will get the fastest technologies which are available in the European nations. Okay, so the fastest technologies which are available can be got by you. So that is the one thing. The next thing you can see here is that it is about the MNC companies which has route for the MNC companies to invest by or even to join hands with the local companies. If they have joined hands, you see, they might have joined hands with the local companies. So when the local company is getting into loss, so that time they will itself buy the company and will be fully taken over by the foreign MNC companies. So this is one thing which is happening. Example, if you look into your book, you will be identifying the example, that is the Cargill Food, a very large American company, American MNC company which has been started. But in India you can find that Parkas Food, which is a favorite food which has been, Parkas Food had built a large marketing network in India. But you know what happened? When the brand was well reputed, it was also Parkas, where they also had an oil refinery of their own. Okay, the whole control was shifted towards the Cargill when the Cargill food company has come into existence, and now you can find they have around 5 million pounds of production of oils have been available with the Cargills. So it is happening. So they come into the your aspects of production, but they take your company into hand. This is the another thing which is happening. Then, if you see the MNC companies, in fact, many of the MNC companies are highly wealthy. Even comparing to the developed nations or developing nation, a developed nation may have 60 to 70 crores in its hand, but a single MNC company may have 100 crores with it. So you cannot even root out the MNC company out of the nation also. They'll bribe each and every one. They'll bribe the jurisdiction, they'll bribe the policemen, they'll bribe all the peoples over there. So what happens is that the MNC company, even if it is doing so much of wrong habits in a nation, cannot be rooted out. So that is one drawback which you can see. The another thing which you can see here is this: MNC company control its own production. Large MNCs which have been developed, the countries, they only will be deciding orders, like how much order should be there. Initially what they'll do, so they will, when they are coming, if it is a shoemaking company, it will give its own order to the small workers. Okay, so they will do perfectly and they'll give it back, but the product will be sold in the brand name of the MNC company only. You know what is happening? It has been produced in India only. For example, if you take Adidas is a product which has been produced in India only, but it has been done by the shoemakers of India, but brand name is Adidas. So like that they will give you. So there is a possibility of them to have a control over the small producers. So this happens in the small production, garment and footwear, even in the sports aspect you can find. And also the industries that being produced is carried out by the large number of small producers. So industrial production also is by the small workers, it will be carried out. The second thing which you can see here is that the MNC company only will decide what is the price of its own product, what time it will give the delivery, what will be the raw material that has to be used, what will be the price of the products. So all these things will be determined by the MNC company only. No other local supplier, no other supportive supplier partners will be doing this. Okay, this is the second drawback which you can find. And third thing which you can see is that the MNC companies spread their productions and interact with the local producers as well as the various countries across those by setting up the partnership. So they will have contact, they will have relations with the all the countries and the small producers by having the companies over there in the name of the partnership. Okay, and the partnership will be utilized by them. So the local companies will supply things by the close competition. They will have a close competition, like same cotton production is there in India. Similarly, cotton production is being brought from the European countries through MNC may also have a shift competition which will be faced. But the final person who is getting victory will be the MNC company because they are money wise wealthier. Okay, so this is also happening. So they what happens automatically, the cotton textile which is there in India is going in loss. So he will try to sell that. So when he is trying to sell that, definitely that MNC company will buy that and will be under the control of MNC company. So this is one thing. The production is this widely dispersed, located in is getting interlinked. So they say yes, definitely the product which has been available in India is being exported to other countries. The product which are available in Asia, product which are available in Europe, products are available in Africa, we are able to get. It is through because of the interlinking process that is happening through the MNC companies. But it also has its own drawback which also has to be dealt. So we'll have a quick recap of the thing. If you see this MNC companies, they have been establishing in India for the production of their own aspects, where they see about the skilled and unskilled workers, and skilled workers have been provided jobs and skilled workers have been trained and provided jobs. And the MNC companies, when they set up their own companies, they look into the interesting policies of the government which has been favoring them, only then they will locate their own industries here. And if you see the machines, tools, or the aspects like buildings where they invest is called as the investment, and when it is being done by the MNC company, it is called as the foreign investments. So the foreign companies, when they come and have a collaboration, when they have a connection joined with the local producers, they have two different benefits. One is, the first thing you can see is that they will provide them to buy the advanced technologies, tools and machines by providing money. Second thing is that fastest and more easiest mode of manufacturing might be brought by the European nations. So technological development may also brought by them. So this is another thing. So even they will be having a shift competition with the local producer as well as the MNC companies, as we saw about the Cargill and Parkas. Then the next thing if you see is that the MNC companies are more wealthier comparing to the other aspects, other nations development also. So they take up all the activities in their hand. So they control the production, they control their raw material, they control their own aspects of delivery, their price production, everything will be controlled by them. So when this MNC companies come to India, they will be joining hands with the local producers, local sellers in the name of a partnership, and later it gets into the competition. So there will be a competition, it has been faced. You can find that the local companies have been purchased or been taken in the hands of the MNC companies. But definitely we have to agree that these MNC companies are being developing or interlinking the productions throughout the nation. So there is no other words to say for that. This definitely making an interlinking with the nations of production. So that is definitely acceptable one. Okay, my dear students, the remaining will continue in the next class. Thank you, my dear students.